Hey, everybody, welcome back to another new episode of Cinema A to B. Today we have from the year 2000, High Fidelity, directed by Stephen Frears. Really nice adaptation here, starring John Cusack, kind of our introduction to Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
Alec, kick it off.
So, I am not a John Cusack fan. There's something about him and his acting I don't like. And I think some of it is that his sister, Joan, is in most of his films. And I really dislike her. You know, nothing like against her. There's something about her acting style that just is like nails on a chalkboard for me. But somehow I can get through this because I actually do really like him in this film. And I got this early on. I think I bought the DVD in like 01, 02. And it was one of those really crappy DVD ones where it was like the cardboard with like the little plastic like clap over it. I hated those. They were they were the worst DVD cases. So, but I had it, and it was one of those times where I had like maybe 5 to 10 DVDs. So like I watched it so much. I watched all the behind the scenes, the extras, commentary tracks. So there's a special place in my heart for this movie. Gave it a rewatch recently. It's definitely aged differently than I expected. My thoughts on especially John Cusack's character have basically gone even more so that he is just an entirely large piece of crap, Yeah. Like, I thought he was when I was younger, but then as I've aged, I look back, I'm like, oh man, you're even worse than I thought you were. Like that I remember. So, but with that being said, I still really like this film. And, I definitely call this the romantic comedy for guys because obviously it's so much, very focused on the male protagonist and very little to do with the female protagonist. And while I generally am not a huge fan of kind of breaking the fourth wall movies, it really fits with this. Like, I love the kind of interplay he has with the camera and with talking with us and going through his life and everything. It wouldn't have worked any other way. I think it's a great adaptation of the Hornby book as well. I haven't actually read the book, but what I've heard is that it's a great adaptation, even though it goes from London to Chicago. But, I think it works. And I absolutely love Jack Black. And this was my kind of introduction to Jack Black.
Yep.
And I love him. This is my favorite Jack Black movie ever that he's in. Like, it just, him playing Barry just brings me so much joy every time I see him, even though like him and Dick and Rob are all absolute jerks, like the snobs.
Yeah.
Like, they're not likable characters, but there's something about their dynamic between how terrible they all are to each other that I just love. That I'm just like, I've met these people in real life. Like, I know. And I'm sure I've been that person about certain other topics, to people where I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to things.
Jack Black's got some amazing comedic moments in this movie, but by far and away my favorite is when he's singing a song about Laura's dad having died.
Mother was a night, it really was. Mother was a night, it really was. Angina's tough.
Glory be. And then he's shaking him. Cusack's just shaking the crap out of him, like trying to get him to stop. Dude, the comedy has aged wonderfully.
Yes,
what's weird to me now is that Jack Black's like completely changed his kind of facing persona based on the movies he does. And it's because he's got kids, like he's doing much more family friendly content, which is fine. But this is the Jack Black that I grew up with. It's like this into, School of Rock, Tenacious D gets more popular. I didn't realize that Tenacious D had been around for like 6 years when this one came out. I had no clue who they were. I just knew he was this really funny guy in High Fidelity. But yeah, his character is really the same as Dewey. He's a little meaner than Dewey and has more, I don't know, he's maybe a little bit better work ethic than Dewey from School of Rock, but not much. But basically it's the same guy. And yeah, it's tremendous. I love that you said that this is like a rom-com for guys. I think this is the greatest like guy-focused romantic comedy ever made. Because it hits all of these issues that sometimes a female tilted rom-com will touch on, but the big one being just how fragile our psyches really are, especially in conjunction with the opposite sex. If you've got a good woman on your arm, dude, life is good. like life is really good. And if that's not happening, or that woman did you wrong, like, yeah, most of us are like pretty fragile. And the movie does a really good job of like, and he sets that double standard up for her where it's like, it's okay for him to sleep with Lisa Bonet, but suddenly Laura can't sleep with
Ian, and it ruins everything.
Played amazingly by Tim Robbins, I might add. Like the fact that Tim Robbins agreed to be Ian in this is just blows my mind. He's so great. He's just like, well, conflict revolutions, what I do for a living. I think I should talk to him. I do love that scene with the jump cuts of
them
what's
doing different
in
stuff.
Cusack's mind of how much he wants to like beat up. Get your patchouli steak out of my store.
I like the one where Dick grabs the phone and just like smashes.
You can see the teeth come out too.
So real quick aside, apparently Robbins did this and his cameo in Anchorman literally because he had a deal. He was like, I'm going to get paid nothing. I want you to make me wigs and I get to take the wigs home. And so he actually uses them for like Halloween. Like apparently he wore the wig for this, and like 2019, his Halloween costume was like the last time he wore it or something like that. Like, so he still has them, so, which is great. But
yeah, there's so many great moments. It's just like no sex is better than the sex you're having with Ian.
And it's
in my mind.
And it's just the impossibility of some of those things. And I love how he's just like slamming the pillow around. He just can't. He's just like throwing an absolute hissy fit. So I think I want to call this a coming of middle age story. Like it's obviously not a coming of age story because he's already there, but like it's
how old is he supposed to be?
Probably in his 20s, maybe early 30s. I mean,
early 30s makes more sense just based on everybody's actual ages. They don't really give it a clear delineation on like the last time he saw certain people. Seems like it could almost be like 10 years since he'd seen Charlie, which Catherine Zeta-Jones is so good in that role. Like,
goodness. Absolutely
just kind of, I love that moment of realization where he's like, this woman's awful. Like, she's terrible.
Doesn't let anyone talk. Her opinions are dumb.
Yeah. I love it.
Well, I also love that he goes up, like, he just looks so shoddy. Like, in every scene, like, he looks like he's got the same wardrobe that he wore in college almost. Yeah. And then he goes to a party and he's just, like, completely, like, super baggy clothes almost. And then everyone else is, like, these really nice, styled stuff. And he's just like, I want their opinions. I want their clothes. I want their beach houses. I want all this. Yeah. But they're jerks.
Yeah.
But so I mean, that's what I was thinking. It's maybe not middle age is not the right term, but it's definitely a coming to maturity level, not so much like adulthood, but more of like realizing, what love is, what your long-term goals are, like what you want your life to be actually about. And that's, I think, one also the differences. And I think I also agree with you. I like that this movie, it ends, but it doesn't end in that typical, they lived happily ever after. It just kind of was more like, hey, I still got to grow. Like, I still have to be a better person. I'm still kind of a jerk in a lot of ways, but it's now, I realize that I can choose to not be my jerky self. I can choose to kind of move forward and be a part of this relationship as opposed to be, opposing this relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it's about self-reflection, introspection, self-growth. And then it's this nice rejection of the fallacy, like the grass is greener kind of fallacy. Because he does have that realization. He's like starting to do it all over again. He's going to make that mixtape for that Galitz interview, cute Galitz interviewing him for the reader. And I love that outburst he has. It's like, what am I doing? And she's like, what? And he's like, oh, just making this tape. And he didn't lie to her, but
no,
just making this tape.
And she
kind of knows. She knows the wheels are turning, but she's like, confident enough in her. Yeah.
She says it to him when he proposes. He's just like, he's like,
weren't you making a mixtape for?
Like, you're not exactly the biggest, the best choice or.
I love it because he's like, what? I'm tired of thinking about like love and marriage and all that stuff. I want to think about something else. She's like, never mind, I'll do it. That's the most romantic thing I've ever heard. Yeah. The film is undoubtedly pro-monogamy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like pro commitment. I love one of my favorite pieces of dialogue in the movie. I'm paraphrasing, but he's at the bar and he's basically saying, I've been seeking for this relationship that's like great, but with Laura, it's just good, but like really good. And I love that because that's so true. And like everybody settles, like, but settling today in 2025, like I feel like settling's got this really negative connotation, right, to it. And it can, right? Like, but in the context of this movie, I think the messaging is still on point, that like you have to have that recognition of like that you have this counterpoint in another person, that it can't be here all the time.
Exactly.
And that's okay. But you need to be comfortable with that and then make the commitment. I don't know. I looked at it through a very different lens this time. I hadn't seen it in a while. I actually saw this movie in a theater.
Oh, wow.
A friend of mine from high school, Matt, worked this crazy dual job. There was this cable access station and a movie theater in the same building, and he held down jobs in both. And he got me into a couple screenings and stuff, and I feel like this was one of them. And I saw the film reel of it. He took me up into the projection booth and stuff, but we didn't watch it up there. But I'm pretty sure either that or my dad and I saw this, but really enjoyed it then. But I mean, you're talking about looking at it through the lens of like a 18 or 19-year-old versus now at 43. It's like I appreciate the film now more, just living some life, married, understanding like the ebbs and flows of a committed relationship. Yeah. Like, yeah, I think it still has stuff to say today, to be honest with you. Some of it's kind of dated, but I think that part of the messaging is still pretty timeless, really. But I appreciated you saying that like you weren't like a huge Cusack fan. It's kind of interesting because most people that I know that aren't Cusack fans hate this movie.
Interesting.
For that very reason. Like he can be pretty divisive as an actor amongst a lot of segments. Like people either really, really like him or they're just kind of sick of him. I've always kind of dug him because he's just got this everyman vibe.
I can see that.
But yeah. I love the self-deprecation of like, after he like sleeps with Lisa Bonet and he's just like, you're wondering, how does he do it?
Yeah. But like, so Laura is a huge John Cusack film, loves all his movies and stuff like that, and likes this one, but this is definitely like lower on her on the totem pole for her.
That makes sense. Yeah,
but
he's a piece of trash in this movie.
Well, but see, the great thing is that like, and what I really noticed too is that he realizes that, and he says that he is, like other characters tell him that basically he's a jerk, and then he ends up also saying that he is a jerk. He's like, did I do and say all these things? Yes. I am a jerk, and it's just, I think seeing some of those, especially on, this side of 40, of like realizing, like kind of going through that process of kind of realizing some of your own problems and then trying to fix them to be a better person, I think is not satisfying, but cathartic to also watch in a character. The things that I kind of missed and didn't appreciate when I was younger watching this. Yeah. A lot of it was the music. A lot of it was the dream of like, one day maybe, it sounds like it'd be cool to have a record store. I mean, just have your, two buddies and you just sit and make fun of people, trying to buy the Britney Spears album or the whatever. And then I look at my own likes of music and I'm like, oh no, I would never be that guy.
No,
I would be the guy they're making fun of.
Right. Yeah. There's no way your daughter likes that album. Wait, is she in a coma?
So I caught it this time. But I'm now going to sell, 5 LPs.
Oh yeah, the Beta Band.
They actually play that song twice. They play it obviously when he plays it, but when he's actually proposing to Laura, it's playing in the background.
Is it playing in the background?
I noticed that.
Cool.
I was like, is that?
And that song's on my Spotify playlist. Has been for probably the last year. And I remembered it from the movie. I wonder how many albums the movie sold.
What it's going to say? How many people picked it up? Like, oh, that's a good track.
That's good.
Like,
I know.
Yeah.
It's really good. I know.
But speaking of the music, I love everything that they put in there. I love them making fun of so many, like Art Garfunkel. Oh my goodness, who's the guy that they make fun of? Peter Frampton. He's like, is that Peter effing Frampton? Like, I hate this song. I like they were not pulling any punches when talking about artists they did not like at all.
I do love the boss's cameo though.
Yeah.
Just playing. Like
he's like,
they might feel better. You definitely will.
I feel clean.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah. Clean your conscience. Move on down the road. Yeah, that's great.
Give a high five to that all.
So I wonder who was that role in the book then, if it's London based. Like I'd have to look that up because I've not read the book either.
Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued now. I probably should, but I wonder if that was adapted for the States because I wonder if it's a British artist in the book.
It may be. I mean, I know. I mean, Springsteen was pretty big throughout the '80s, even in the UK.
I'll tell you what's funny about this movie is when it came out, vinyl was still pretty big, and then we've gone through a period where vinyl like became non-existent almost, and now it's pretty big again. Yeah. At least it's got a passionate contingent that's looking for it. But so in that way, the movie like
has transcended
it. It was current, and then it like aged poorly, and now it's like re-aged well with him owning a vinyl shop. Like it still makes sense. And they don't show a lot of cars and stuff in this movie. I noticed that it was like their attire's a little kind of funky, but I agree with you that like, okay, so I noticed something.
Okay.
I'll go so the attire, I like that you mentioned he still feels like he's like stuck in like college. His attire. I agree with that. Something I didn't catch until I was paying attention to the dialogue. That one girl that he broke up with because she wouldn't like let him go further with her than he wanted. I didn't realize until the dialogue that was supposed to be high school.
Yeah, really.
I thought it was every time I've ever thought the movie, I thought it was college because she looks so much older, and then he's not convincing. He's sitting on the grass with his friends, and it's like, oh, but in the dialogue when he meets back up with her again, she's like, I was 16. And I'm like, wait, what? I was like, oh, well, he's even a bigger piece of trash than I thought.
Well, and then at the end of that, when she storms off, he's like, and that's another one I don't have to worry about because he's like, I'm absolved because I dumped her. I'm not going to be doomed to love. Like he only cares about himself.
He's super selfish. Yeah, he's so selfish. He's terrible. He's terrible. Yeah, the character's like, I agree with you. I view the character in such a worse light now than I did like probably 10 years ago or even when I saw it as a late teens. Like you have to live life to realize how bad he is. Like how terrible he is.
He actually is. Go through some relationships and figure out like, oh wow, it's surprising she didn't dump you sooner or took you back. Like my goodness.
But when he like shouts to the rooftops that she married Kevin and he's totally absolved, it's like
what the? I'm doomed to be left, doomed to be alone.
Yeah. But he's on the phone with that gal's mom, and he's like, "No, actually, I was her first boyfriend." She's like, "Okay, Bob."
Yeah, I love how she gets his name wrong.
Yeah,
what was it, Rob? She goes, "Yeah, okay, Bob." You know, at the end, like whatever, like crazy man on my phone.
But yeah, the top 5 records with the top 5 breakups, like it's people and guys love lists. We love lists. So the whole countdown thing is really fun and
it makes sense. I mean, and he does it with his buddies too, of like top 5 songs to play on a Monday morning or top 5 track 1 album, first album, first track, things. It's like
that was my special Monday tape, special for you.
Do you want to know what's playlist? What's next? He's like, play it. What's next? Little Latin loop. Yeah, whatever. We'll quote this movie left and right.
Very quotable. Yeah.
Very quotable. Yeah. There's just so much joy that I get. And I do like the fact that his character grows even in his career too, of him taking that chance of wanting to put out a record, kind of going back. And I think that's also one of the things that maybe Laura saw as well. Like, oh hey, he's growing outside of just this as well. And maybe that's kind of what.
Well, the key is he stops self-loathing.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing will push a woman away quicker. Well, some other stuff will, but
yeah,
self-loathing's up there. Like it's.
Nobody got time for that.
No, it's kind of exhausting. I think, for either sex to be with somebody that's like stuck in that cycle. But it's relatable. I mean, super relatable. I don't have a top 5 breakups. I don't.
Neither do I.
But
those are...
Of course, I was in an arranged marriage anyway, right? So
you were. I mean, as close as it comes in this day and age.
Yeah, pretty much. The way as much as like a 2014 arranged marriage could look is pretty much the way it.
It worked out well for you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it has. So, what else? I mean, I don't know. This moves really fast for me. I think what is it, like 2 hours? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's pretty much 2 hours right on the nose.
Yeah,
and it's a really good looking movie too. Just the film stock and the color grade is, I don't know, just it's a little bit cooler look to it, more blues, which matches the emotional kind of weight of the movie. As things just have a hint of more blue in them, but it's just a nice clean 2000 film release.
And I think the writing is really quippy and like dialogue's really done well. And Cusack actually is credited as one of the writers of the screenplay of the adaptation. And it just flows. Like there's not really any down points. Like it all really works really well. And some of the emotional beats he's able to get, or some of the like fun little things, like when Marie DeStelle comes into the store and he goes out, he's like talking to her. He's like, "Hey, I gotta do this thing real quick, and then I'll be back. But I'm gonna go do this thing." And then he runs and he's just like, "What effing Ian guy?" Just shouts it to the rooftops of like what's going on. He just like I'm really super excited you're here, but I just got news and I need to like essentially like just scream it out. And I love this kind of back and forth of this moving forward. And
she's perfectly cast for the kind of character she plays. It's perfect. Like I can't even envision anybody else in the role, to be honest with you, than her. Like
and she's fantastic singing that song too.
Yeah.
I want that album. Like I want to see that cut, whatever that is,
Yeah, no, she's really good. And he like starts to, after they get together, but then they have that conversation where she kind of reveals like her worldview, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's got enough, he's starting to have enough, like he's starting to gain some introspection and like self-respect to be like, yeah, there's no there. Like there's no future with her. But by the same token, he holds Laura to a double standard when she finally sleeps with Ian, which is, that stuff's accurate, man. Like a guy's ex sleeps with another guy. It's like heart explosion wrenching stuff. But I don't know that it's true on the other, like when the tables are turned, like we're wired different, man. Like I said, the male fragile ego is like totally a thing. Like it just is. It just is. Yeah. But yeah, and the film does just a really nice job of like making that very clear through Cusack. Like he's just wrecked.
Him and Barry and Dick are all just children, essentially, just adult children, just kind of going through life.
Dick is like that actor does such a good job of basically making him on the spectrum. Like but Dick has his own mini arc too.
Yeah, he does. Because he gets a little more confident. He goes from this having no confidence and wanting a girl, and then kind of connecting with.
I do love when they're all watching Lisa Bonet play, though.
Yeah,
they are just like children. Like they're all just
date a musician. I want to live with a musician. Be in the liner notes.
Yeah, I want a picture of me in the liner notes. Just a small one in the background. Yeah, they have their own idiosyncrasies. Yeah, it's.
And I love when Cusack meets them out the bar with Marie DeSalle, with Lisa and stuff like that. And the two of them are like really talking to her a lot and trying to get her attention. The minute he sits down the other side, she turns and they just kind of like look at each other like, oh man, what's going on?
True to life.
Yeah.
So I think this with School of Rock is the ultimate like music centered double feature.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
From this era. You have 2000 and I think 04, 05 is School of Rock.
Is it really only 04 for School of Rock?
Yeah.
Wow. That's so much older than I thought.
It's only like 4 or 5 years after this that
2003.
I was wrong. I was wrong on both counts. So it's even closer to High Fidelity.
Holy cow.
So yeah, I think this High Fidelity, School of Rock, total perfect double feature. Like, just.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. My goodness. For some reason, School of Rock feels so much newer than that.
Does.
It feels closer to like a 2010
I agree.
film than it does a 2000.
I think it's the tone of it. I don't know why, since it's only 3 years newer. But yeah, both those movies are like so old. So old.
They're so old. We're old too, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was pretty much sure this was my introduction to Jack Black and still my favorite.
It was certainly mine. Yeah. It was certainly mine.
Yeah. Just his little quips, the angina's tough, if this is vintage, if you ripped it, I will sock you.
Totally believable character. Like,
absolutely. Like, these were hipsters before they were hipsters. Really. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was necessarily a record shop, but I've been in like specialty niche shops like that where the employees are just like that. Just arrogant, angst-filled, mad at the world.
That nobody respects their opinions.
Oh, and by the way, all I could think of was Reddit when Cusack is interjecting with Jack Black and he's giving Dick all that grief for having an opinion on a song, like thinking or another album was better or another band. And Cusack's like, how could like his opinion be wrong? That's Reddit. That's Reddit. Like, people that are just like, it's all opinion based stuff, and people are just like having a conniption fit. And I'm talking mainly the movie like Reddit boards. Terrible about that. Same deal. Like, oh, you can't have that opinion. Your opinion's wrong. What? No, it's not. That's why it's called an opinion. Yeah,
it's the same thing in like the Star Wars Reddit ones too, where everyone's talking about different stuff of, oh, this show was really good. No, it wasn't. You're an idiot for having that opinion. It was trash. Like, let people like it.
It's like, why do people get so fired up about somebody else's opinion on something? It's hysterical.
Well, they're wrong, Ben. They are wrong, and they need to know it, and they need to change their opinion.
They change their opinion, yeah. I don't know.
Rise of Skywalker was trash and should be burned from existence.
I didn't particularly enjoy it, but I'm sure there's a segment that did, and it's fine.
There is. Believe me, they're on Reddit, and they get yelled at all the time.
But again, like, it's not like somebody's like dragging me into a room, like permanently opening my eyes, like from, what's the Kubrick film?
Eyes Wide Shut?
No, a bit of the ultra violence, A Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
Clockwork Orange style. It's dragging me, keeping my eyes open and forcing me to watch Rise of Skywalker again. Nobody's doing this. So why does it matter?
I can avoid it. I've seen it the once.
I've seen it once too. Yeah, one time in the theater, and that was I think in 3D.
Oh, I didn't even see it in 3D. No, it was
a waste of time in 3D.
Yeah. But anyways, High Fidelity was not a waste of time, and especially for the 10th time that I've seen it. I've lost count on how many times.
Yeah,
again,
it's an easy rewatch. I'll be honest, it's a really easy rewatch. The combination of the music and like, I love the two teenage kids that create that like 3-song mixtape album. I like, they tried to, I think they both tried to kind of pursue a career. At least one of them maybe did, but never really went anywhere. But yeah, they're fun.
And then of course we get a great rendition of Let's Get It On. By Jack Black. Yeah. Just fantastic.
Yeah, and Cusack gets to pretend like it's the first time he's realized he's actually any good.
Yeah.
Like, the expression on his face, he's just like, what?
What's going on? I do have to say, this was also one of my favorite ending songs that closes out a movie.
Yeah.
Because, I just gotta say, the I Believe is just so, like, it's just the perfect song for what is happening, and also it's very great for the closeout of it. Like, I don't know, it gives me chills every time. When he clicks up the music, it's you know, it's just Stevie Wonder singing.
Well, yeah, and the dialogue's really good there too, of like working on a new tape, stuff she'd like, and I finally have got like basically a bearing on like how to do that now. The self-reflection, the personal growth. Now he's outward. He's not inward anymore. He's outward facing.
What is stuff she likes? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. The end credits are really cool too. And this is one of the first movies I can remember being kind of blown away because they weren't just a traditional end credit slate with text scrolling. Like for the first bit of the credits, like the director and stuff, they do kind of a grungy record store kind of motif with the end credits, which was kind of fresh for 2000. Now you see that stuff all the time, but it was pretty not common. It's just money. It costs money to do that. I was like, well, why would you spend money on your end credits? But yeah,
we'll watch them.
Yep. You got
no. That's really. I mean, go watch it again if you haven't. It may sit differently, but it's still an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in on this discussion revisitation of High Fidelity. Good flick, man. I own it. Or I think I own it. I don't know. I'll have to double check that, but
if not, it's on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Oh, okay. Nice. I think I saw it on Hulu. That's right. Yeah. It's really good.
It is.
It's not a great movie, but it's a really, really good film, and it's smart. It's funny. It's got nice balance of dudes rom-com. So appreciate everybody listening in, and we will be back next week as always.
And I
don't intend on taking any breaks here if we can help it with the way we batch recording is key. Batch recording. The big secret to not missing weeks is to batch record. If any of our other burgeoning podcasters out there, like, really record more than one episode per session if you can. If it's not, it makes life a lot easier. But
yeah, I'm not just wearing the same outfit for like 2 shows in a row. Like we do these back to back a lot of times. Yeah. So you can kind of see.
Well, if you're on YouTube, nobody even cares. I mean, like, you just
that's actually true.
The talking head, they don't notice. Yeah, from week to week that it's just that's the same stuff he was wearing last time now. But
if they notice that, who cares? But.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the listen. And now to go sort my albums autobiographically. Excellent. Wow. Thanks, everybody.